Welcome, fuck pigs. We have FedEx Me Your Drugs on today of Channel 14 Vaction News fame. He fucking rocks. I'm very excited to have him. Today we have me, Fishing Pole on Please Talk to Me, and Jack Gladney. And it's the fucking weekend. Actually, I wrote this when it was Friday. It's now Sunday. Weekend's over. Anyone have a case of the Sunday scaries? I know I do. I don't know when this is going to come out. We released
this one's almost worse than the first one.
This one's better than the first one. Yeah, dude. We released 2 in the row. Everyone fucking hated it. I was under the impression that if we had fans, they would like more content from us. But the opposite is true, and that fucking sucks. What do you think about our fans hating the more content we give them?
I think it's exactly like I said. We're oversaturating the market. We need to calm down. People are, they like us. They do, but they don't like us that much yet. We haven't.
Not yet.
We're flirting at the bar. We're not having any sex yet.
We have not crossed the Rubicon just yet.
We have not, but we will cross it next week with a special guest that I'm gonna drop hints in this episode. I'm not gonna tell you where the hints are. They could have already happened. They could be way later.
Could have been a song.
Could have been a song. Could have been a quote from our guest that we told him to say. Could be anything.
Gunshot noises. That would actually make sense if you think about it. My deepest apologies to our loyal fans. Without you, again, we are nothing but shit on a toilet. There's a growing resentment toward the listeners. Yeah, gunshot, boom, 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 boom. Next week's guest, boom, boom, boom. Oh no! Je suis terrorism. We were atop the eagle's nest just like last week. Now we are back in the gutter. Realizing I must please you guys has made me feel stupid. No more Mr. Nice Guy fans. I dropped a mini-sode because the last episode we made was trash of just tax talk. 9 people listened to it. Who fucking cares? I think I was 6 of them. Today, I was on a cool podcast, Fishing Pole, called Men on Film with three men talking about film. I don't care about movies, but they let me pick a movie, and I picked Southern Comfort, and it rocks. They're cool. That shit will be on out next week. They're our first official partner podcast. No, they don't want to be associated with us.
They don't?
I don't know.
You've been texting me all day, and you've been. But what did you say?
Racism.
You said race. You said racist things on somebody else's podcast.
Yeah, because you can't edit it.
I mean, all right. I guess
it'll never come back to us.
All right.
Again, I am atop the eagle's nest saying whatever the fuck I want.
That's your prerogative to do what you got to do, man. But we gotta make some allies out there. You can't start off saying the worst things you think of in your brain. I don't know. Just don't do that when you're guesting on other people's podcasts. It's probably not a good idea.
Fuck them. They said it was sick. They said it was the best episode they ever had. But
what is Southern Comfort? What is that?
Movie. It's a movie about the Louisiana National Guard unit who goes into the bayou, and then they mess with the local Cajuns too much, and they chase them through the bayou and kill them all slowly. It's kind of like Alien, but with rednecks. It fucking rocks, dude. It's one of my favorite movies. One of the only 2 movies I've ever seen. This and No Country for Old Men. But
you don't watch movies. You're not a big movie guy. But you went on the movie. You went on the movie podcast, but you're not a big movie guy. That's a good.
No, I told them off the bat. I said I disrespect what you're doing. I don't like it.
It's very cool.
You could tell us more about this. We had that schizo girl DM us on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah, no, I'll talk about that. Yeah, so she messaged you, but we all have access, or me and you both have access to the SoundCloud, and she her open was. I guess you made a comment on an episode that wasn't even that popular, saying girls DM me, and she DM'd you, and her opening line was, "I am bipolar and have schizoaffective disorder. Please have me on the podcast." And then she sent us a picture of her, but without her face.
Kind of cute.
Which, I don't know, because she had a big black smudge where her face was supposed to be.
Sensitive, because she's too hot.
Yeah, that's probably why she did that. And so we're really excited to see her face and what she's what
She's 30
horrible
as well.
what her chemical cocktail is that keeps her from losing her mind and shooting up an elementary school or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah,
It's
she's old. And women over 30, you can be on the podcast. Just be hot. We're probably doing this just to make our other female guests jealous. The girl eugenicist is deeply in love with both of us, so they can fight for our love. But we asked if she could be on Friday, this schizo girl. She said no because it was her mom's birthday, which is happy birthday to her mom, or fuck you, schizo girl, for making up such an obvious lie. Either one, dude. We'll see.
I hope that your mom had a great birthday. I hope the cake was good.
Hey man, you have time for one question? What is the one thing that would be?
Filming, I don't give you consent to filming.
We're in a public space.
Why I want to answer your question.
Well, could you just? It's a real easy question. What's the worst thing to be? Either a racist or a pedophile?
I don't know what you're using your video for. I don't know what your intention is, or I would want to hear more about what you're doing and what your project
It's
is.
for a YouTube channel.
What's the YouTube channel and what's the organization?
It's Teenus.
What is it?
Teenus.
Which is what?
Or Peanut Arbuckle. It's a YouTube channel. And we're just asking a question. We always do this. We go around asking one question. And this is a hot topic.
I'm not comfortable answering your question without knowing who you are.
I'm Chad.
I don't know anything about you. I would want to know your background and what you're doing and your goals.
We're a progressive media source. Yes.
I think they're both good problems. I don't accept that I don't accept the premise that one should be prioritized over the other. They're both problems in our society.
Right. But if you had to choose one.
I don't think you're right.
Yo, Rob,
Hey,
what's the
going
fucking
on,
word,
guys?
dude? Yo, I
real quick.
apologize. We're not on video because it fucking lags out like crazy, and then we have to
okay.
record. You
Yeah,
can
I
be
was-
on video. You can be on video though, just to not creep you out, brother.
Well, do you what do you do? Post it on video ever? or
No,
is it just
we
podcast
only only post audio because we are anonymous guys. So listener,
yeah, right on.
this is FedEx Me Your Drugs, a profoundly non-anonymous guy who has been taken to the streets every fucking day, dude, doing the dirty work, doing the Lord's work, checking out vaxes, dude, seeing what's happening. We persevered through scheduling conflicts, filming schedules, civil war, vaccine, strife, anarchy, sex. What's up, bro? I'm so happy you're on also, dude.
Man, it's good to be on. It was good to be contacted by you the other day. I've been looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, big fan, man. I loved the new video. Is great, man. Walking around Philly, going to Rittenhouse Square, harassing people. It's very cool.
Yeah, man.
We were
Now that
just
I got
watching
a
that.
second camera guy, it's a lot more, it's just funny how that changes the dynamic, and it's always interesting, the human psychology doing this. It's it's just fun, man.
Let me ask you this: do you like? I don't want to say crackpot because that's a loaded word, but like, so when you go out and you like ask these people like about like conspiracy theory type stuff,
Not
do you believe that stuff, or are you more just trying to get a rise out of people, or a little bit of both? Because I want to know where on the Alex Jones spectrum for
Yeah,
this interview.
it's a little bit of both, man. But I do believe that a lot of this stuff that we've seen over the past year, people have had a hard time figuring out what's all going on because you're bombarded with this, Corona thing. And then there's this Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all these seemingly disparate, unrelated events and institutions and ideas. But essentially, they're all a part of the same plan.
They do feel
And-
like one big thing together.
Yeah. And once you begin to put all that together, it's like, I've said this before, like you look at the 45 goals of communism. You look at the Frankfurt School, you look at those stated goals of Black Lives Matter, you look at all these documents, And you can say that, there's one or two that's a conspiracy theory, but that doesn't count out the 18 other documents, institutions, and organizations that you got to explain. I mean, there is a concerted effort to fuck with us on every level, man. I mean, spiritually, socially, physically, emotionally, psychologically, every part of modern life is a meat grinder for souls.
It feels like a fucking assault lately, dude.
Let me just put a counterpoint to what you just said, and you can argue it, or you can call me an asshole, whatever you want to do. What if, and hear me out, none of it's connected, and this is just the path of least resistance for people in a society that only, wants to consume shit. Like maybe that's all it is, and there isn't really any concerted effort. We're just all hurtling towards the abyss together because this is what we do as people.
Well, yeah, there is that tendency of just human nature to be, just psychopathic and evil, and most of those people get into positions of power, and that's been a story throughout time. The good and evil. All that is just biblical stuff, but there are also organizations with the express purpose of fragmenting the family, fragmenting their communities, our social networks. I mean, just this past year alone, all of those things have been at play. And you look at some of these documents that have gotten out. There's a really good book, William Guy Carr, Pawns in the Game, that I've been getting into recently. Okay. And he goes through this guy Weishaupt, Adam Weishaupt, and he basically infiltrated all the Freemasonry and all of that, those kinds of groups. And with control over the central banking systems and with control over the media, you can do a lot just by those two things. Never mind the education aspect of it. The Prussian school model that we are thrust into as young people, memorizing the periodic tables and watching Holocaust movies and all of this stuff. I mean, it's just kind of, it's basically, it creates good mindless drones who will do what they're told. And that's exactly what I see every time I go out and do these videos.
That is
so let me get it straight. You don't want Holocaust education in schools.
The funniest thing is, man, it's like you never see, where are like the October Revolution movies? Where's like the the Holodomor documentaries? Like, why doesn't Spielberg and company do those kinds of movies? We only see one side of the story, and we've had UNESCO in our textbooks for going on a century now. The CIA, the Tavistock were founded within 2 days of each other in April in 47 or September of 47. Kenzie was founded in April of that year. And you have all these institutions, a lot of money going to these subversive organizations. And this is what I got a kick out of this summer, watching that Dave Chappelle Netflix thing. I don't know if you saw it, but he said, in terms of the George Floyd riots and all that was going on there, this is the streets talk. And I was just no, man, this is anything but the streets talking. This is not organic at all. This is top down, full spectrum dominant stuff. And they've been doing this for years.
Post World War II, a lot of evil shit started going. They think World War II was like the demonic thing that happened, but all these things that were set up after the war was what is really the problem. And to go back, like the biblical good versus evil, I'm a normal guy, and I'd like to think of myself as a good guy, but I feel for the first time in my life, if I wanted to go full sicko mode evil, I could have done it this year, and no one would have said shit to me. I could be an evil man now, free from judgment of anyone. You know what I'm saying? And no one would be like, what the fuck? I'd just be like, nah, dude, I'm evil now. Fuck you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like that Dalrymple quote that communist propaganda is meant to humiliate. It's not meant to inform. And the purpose of it is really to if to get people to assent to obvious lies, and in doing so, you become evil in no small way yourself.
Yeah.
You know, to buy into this after they told you, I would give you till June, but after they told you that the biggest problem, the real virus, was racism, and that you can protest for social justice, but you can't go to the beach alone.
Yeah.
That's the point where if you didn't get it after that, you just aren't gonna get it.
And post that happening, no one's zooming in on that whole fucking thing. That's just ignored. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just have tons of these like that I've gone through lately, just these pictures, screenshots that I've saved from the spring and summer of last year, and the completely obvious lies starting back in like March. This time last year, we were getting word that Israel, just by quote unquote pure luck, they had stumbled upon a vaccine that just so happened to be for the coronavirus. It's amazing. It's just like Lucky Larry, you know, they're just lucky people, I guess. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I guess what I would say I'm confused about most by what you've just said is like, so you're throwing a lot of different people at me, like you're blaming Israel and the communists, and just, it feels like
it feels like
it feels like
narrow
too many,
it down.
It feels like too many enemies, and I feel like really it's just market logic doing what market logic does, and fucking, you know, this is the path of least resistance for people to buy more shit and for small businesses to get fucking eaten up by bigger businesses, and that's all that's going on. And
or it could, I think it could be like buy shit plus good and evil final battle. Could it be both?
Do you think this is Armageddon? Is that what you're just saying?
I think it's closer than we've ever been, personally.
I mean,
who is good and who is evil? That's what I want to. Because you've thrown out a lot of different people, but I don't have any clear sides here. What is good and what is evil?
I guess if I can just break it down, I mean, you know, globalism is always about using communist totalitarian tactics to control a large group of people. And there are many people who gravitate to that. I mean, they're evil, psychopathic people, of course. And you also have people that are just in it for the kicks, in it for the money, in it for the sex, you know, with Epstein and all that stuff. And you know, the greed and all, of course, that's an element of it. I know that globalism is I've heard it referred to as communism with a briefcase, where it's basically, you know,
I like that.
A lot of people are misinterpreting this whole thing as like a problem of capitalism, and I got my problems with capitalism.
Sure.
But really, what is going on right now is in no way capitalism. It's just absolute oligarchic, technocratic control. I mean, it's just
there we go. I agree.
Of a few people, and
when you bring up the technocrat part, 100%, the technology part is for me almost the most demonic. Like thinking of good and evil in the past before they had the powers to remotely view us and find out all of our personal information and like who's sucking us off, who we're sucking off. That then was scary, but then we had like government agencies doing that, finding that out either way. But now to have that so prolific is fucking disturbing, which it leads me to a question, which I think you already answered just by talking to us about some of your beliefs. My favorite part in your newest video was this journalist girl, and this is a reoccurring theme in most of your videos. When you approach them asking if they've taken the vaccine, several people have just screamed that they're journalists at you. And why do you think they hate you so much? It seems like they're so mad at you.
Well, I do think that a lot of people intensely hate journalists, and I am one of those people. I mean, my character, this is a character I play of just the most self-important, smug journalist out there
Yeah.
who laughingly calls himself a journalist, but he really is a propagandist whore, and most of them are. And
Yeah.
really, ironically, I do more actual journalism than any of these like tweet followers, and they're tweeting on somebody's Instagram post. I mean, you don't see real journalism anymore unless you're looking at people like John Rappaport or Vernon Coleman, or these guys who are actually reporting what is going on. Most of it is just Tavistock top-down
Bullshit.
control over the media.
That is funny that almost through your hatred of journalists, you've become a better one than any of them have ever been, which fucking rocks, dude. You're
That's
just
like
the
that
best
fucking
one.
that other kid, the kid that goes around with the camera who's big now, all gas no brakes. Like he had the best Black Lives Matter footage of anybody. Like he did it way better than CNN did. He was fucking in there. Like,
Yeah.
he was walking around a Target that was on fire. Like, that
Right.
was
Oh
fucking
yeah, that's
insane.
the only way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, was that Roz guy, or
I don't know what his actual name is. He's like he wears like that shitty brown suit. He's got the
Shitty
curly
suit.
hair.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys doing really good work. There's this guy, inventor Lee Will Barker, I think, and he's this guy that covered what all was going on actually in DC during this whole Capitol insurrection thing.
Oh.
And he had some really good live streams from that, man. It's very informative. He had some insight. He had some really good sources on that. And it just kind of, they'll tell us where to go. They'll tell us where to find our tribe. I found Richie Allen. This is how I found Richie Allen, is basically this past summer, they were trying to discredit that Dr. Martin Kulldorff, who was the originator, the author of the Great Barrington Declaration. And they tried to
you gotta slow down. You're saying a lot of terms. What is the Great Barrington?
Well, it's essentially the consortium of doctors and medical professionals who are going against the COVID narrative. And tens of thousands of people have signed this declaration that what is going on right now is not science, and it's not in any way, it's just scientism. But, I ran across Richie Allen because in The Guardian, they had an article attempting to discredit Martin Kulldorff by the Great Barrington Declaration guy.
Yes.
They were attempting to discredit him by saying that he had gone on the Richie Allen show. And a couple of years ago, Richie Allen had a Holocaust denier. So the dirty tricks that they do, man.
If someone said one thing, it invalidates every truth they tell from there on out. Yeah, that is the trick. Yeah, that is the modern journalism demonic trick they use against you, dude. It fucking sucks.
Counterpoint, maybe don't deny the Holocaust publicly if you want to get taken seriously.
The thing
I'm not saying you can't say something correct after having that opinion, but like, come on.
Well,
don't fucking go come on.
I get it. But, I also get that there should be free inquiry into every single topic in this world.
Yeah.
There should not be 22 countries where you can go to jail for even questioning the narrative.
Yeah, that is fucked.
Right there. That tells you, that is pointing you to where people like me gravitate.
Do you think America will be like that? Do you think we're headed that way, or do you think we still? I still in the back of my head throughout all this strife think like the cliche American individualistic attitude is still there, but every single day I'm disheartened by what I see. And in a very another cliche term,
it's gone.
I feel like it's there with some people. The people who have reacted against the past year have been scrutinized like never before.
They've been also, like the only people reacting against it seem to be the people who are in like so deranged that like you can't even align yourself with them. Like I'm just a normal guy who wants to go to the fucking store and just buy some oatmeal without like getting harassed for not carrying a mask. That's all I want. But I don't want to have to line up with the guy who's like, I need to get an AR-15 and go take a shit in Nancy Pelosi's office.
But all
Like, I
the
don't wanna do
guys
that.
in
I don't-
between aren't posting online. They're just living their lives and enjoying.
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
guess.
right. Basically, I just want to live a life where I'm not like fucked with at every single level. You know?
All the happy people aren't on Twitter, so that's why we assume there's no happy people. But like,
well, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I see people just fucking rocking and rolling, dude, walking around, having a great day with no fucking mask on, no bullshit, eating wherever they want, doing whatever they want, dude. And I see that every day nonstop. And conversely, I see the masked up fucking little demon people scurrying around my neighborhood too, and they're just like running and crossing the street away from the other people. It's just the us versus them. Now, even with the masks alone, forget the social unrest is just so fucking divisive, dude. And people are just trying to enjoy their lives, and once again, it's being interfered with by what is the government going to tell us to do today?
Right.
It's a weird time where like politics is pop culture has been a fucking disaster. It's been a fucking disaster. Like, not like there's no reason you don't have to have an opinion on every issue. You really don't. Like, you can just go about your fucking life. I don't need to hear what you think about like some fucking tax law that got passed this year. Like, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like, but every fucking person has their like opinion and their side, and now it's like you got to get in a fucking fight over every single point.
Yeah, and you're right. The Twitter mob and all makes it so where it kind of skews the whole the scale of discourse for you to believe that the mob is a lot bigger and more powerful than they really are. But really, these are scared people. These are frightened, fearful people. And, you know, I don't hate them. I feel some sort of, you know, I feel like they've been psychologically traumatized, and they have. And you can really see that.
For them.
Yeah, I want to say also, like, I've more or less disagreed with 99% of your points thus far. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I completely understand how you get to all of them, because it's it's literally a fucking blender of horrible opinions and fucking shit just thrown in your face all the time. And like, honestly, getting to where you get makes way more sense to me than picking a fucking side and being like I need my side to win, and fucking being like all of a sudden into Joe Biden because
turning it into fucking Star Wars makes
it's
a lot less sense than just being yourself.
Than just
but no one is fucking doing that.
Trying your best to figure it out. I mean,
yeah, you know, it's but a lot of it is I do buy into a lot of that, what E. Michael Jones says about Logos. You know, there is a natural order of the universe. There is a way that, you know, we do good deeds and we feel good inside. When we self-improve, others around us get better. When we follow the path of denying our needs in the present for sacrifices in the future, when we sacrifice for other people. And I've learned a lot of this stuff in AA, man, because I used to be a leftist, a godless person, a nihilist.
Alcohol does that to you, brother.
Yeah. And
unironically, dude.
Alcohol was the one that took me down fastest.
Yeah.
And, you know, the principles of AA, I recommend it to people, even without drinking problems and all that. I mean, it's just a good way to go about assigning responsibility and accountability to yourself and living by principles.
I think the accountability is very important. I think if I've learned anything, FedEx throughout the past year, my main takeaway beyond the powers that be, I think accelerating us to this hellscape we live in now was the importance of community throughout this. And it sounds kind of hokey, but like, I've become way closer with my neighbors. I've become much more reliant. Like, I don't have a fucking farm yet, but I'm thinking about it, you know, like it's really self-reliance has become more and more important. Like, just how fucking gay it was to see all these well, I can't grow my own toilet paper, but seeing all these guys run around like clamoring up for toilet paper was just so depressing to me, dude. That was like I think about that all the time. These people spurging out, just running around grabbing toilet paper and all these canned goods and shit, and how terrified they were.
If you were paying attention to it, man, like leading up, and like you see fucking China welding people into buildings and just demolishing them with people inside, and then it comes here, and the news just basically is you're gonna die every single day for 2 months. It's like I understand. I understand why you went fucking crazy and you bought every single fucking hand sanitizer in CVS. Like it makes sense to me.
That's the thing, and you know, I mean, I don't like Trump. I don't like any of these politicians, but I mean, my God, when you vilify the guy for the past 4 years to get people to the point that almost half the population thinks this guy is the embodiment of evil.
Yeah, they think he's Hitler, and it's like, Hitler took over Europe. Like he was pretty.
Yeah,
Trump's a fat idiot.
Dude, Trump said he wanted Greenland, and he didn't even want to take it over. He wanted to buy it. Like that's Hitler to you, you fucking dummy. Like it's so absurd, dude.
It really is. And they do this stuff all the time. And that Sinclair broadcast video, I don't know if you've seen that, where it's like they have different, they have like 36 squares on the screen of newscasters, local newscasters reading the exact same script.
Oh my God, that thing is fucking crazy.
Yeah, and it's just completely like that's all Tavistock kind of.
What do you mean when all the local news people are running the same story? That thing?
Well, no. Yeah, they're running the same story, but they're not even just running the same story.
Verbatim.
They're reading word for word the same fucking thing. Yeah,
this is very dangerous to our democracy and all of this. You know,
which is a real issue of like. You know, a company like a Gannett, or like there's like 7 news companies in this entire country. So like a Gannett or like a News Corp or whatever, owning every single local station from like Arizona to fucking New Jersey.
Right.
And
right.
like it's like, oh yeah, okay, so whatever they say goes basically, because
right.
They control the whole fucking narrative itself.
And that's not just, you know, that's not really free exchange of goods and services like capitalism. I mean, that is not capitalism. Globalism, you know, and it's actually 5 companies now that Time Warner merged with some I can't keep up anymore, but it's basically 5 companies being responsible for 90% of the content that you see. That's crazy. I mean, one of the funniest things that happened a little while ago is I've been shopping in this grocery store for the past 9 months without a mask on. I go in there, nobody cares. This one manager, this one afternoon, just corners me in an aisle, and he just freaks out on me and says he's going to call the cops.
Oh,
and basically, what that came from is that Safeway is, of course, a globalist corporation. It's owned by somebody out in California. It's a California businessman making a decision for what happens in rural Maryland where I live. Yeah. So now, like, that guy out in California is making the police 3,000 miles away busy with some absolutely nonsense, non-event. That kind of stuff happens all the time.
I never even thought about how a corporate policy could enact a police
did you see
in a
Kroger?
different place.
Did you see Kroger?
What happened
so basically, Texas lifted their mask mandate, which whatever. We talked about it, or no, we deleted that. But basically, my thought is, really, if we're all getting the vaccine, you could wait 3 more months and then it's over. But whatever, they did it. Doesn't matter. That's their choice. That's their choice. They're allowed to do whatever they want. It's their state. But Kroger said even in Texas, like, you still have to wear a mask in their stores.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck off.
Directly contradicting, which, whether you're a fucking mask person or non-mask person, like, I wear a mask when I'm in the grocery store. I don't care, but like I don't want Kroger getting to decide whether or not the laws that were voted on or decided by people's representatives.
So now we have the hierarchy of the federal government, the state government, and then the corporate enforcement of policies that they fucking fart around and pick and choose. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, which I
That's
don't
right.
think it's. I mean, I don't think that's communism so much as it's like capitalism got to the point where it's not capitalism anymore. It's just there's no competition left, so it's just it's a fucking oligarchy. It's a nightmare.
Well, you
I
know,
don't.
you can
But
see how.
there's got to be a different name for it because communism feels like anachronistic and weird. Like saying, like it's not like fucking China in like the 50s. It's its own thing. It's weird.
Well, yeah, you know, the basic way to get a hold of that is to look up the 45 goals, and it's basically the breakdown of the family. We're getting in the institutions, we're fucking with the young people's minds, we're subverting family, tradition, community, God. We're breaking all that down, and we're building up the state to take the place. And here goes the fear. You know, when you a secularized society, okay, that's what we wanted. But when we got rid of God, then what did we replace it with? We replaced it with these secular saints like Fauci and Gates and these experts and these, people with letters behind their name and celebrities and CEOs and pop stars. That's it. So it's like, really, that was a real good trade-off, guys. I mean, it's kind of like that thing, like, be careful what you wish for, because we're sure getting it, man.
Yeah. So, what part of Philly? Oh no, you're from Maryland. You just said. So you just drive to Philly all the time.
Oh, dude, that was the best segue of all fucking time, dude. Let's fucking go.
I like that one.
Nice.
Yeah, you. So, I mean,
That
you're
was
in Philly.
powerful. That was so powerful, dude. Yeah, Maryland.
Nice,
what about it, bro? Never
No,
been
but
there.
you're in Philly a lot, so I was assuming you were like living in Fishtown or something. But I guess you're
No, the good thing about living where I do, and I'm out in the boonies, most people think Maryland's basically, Bethesda, the suburbs of DC, and it's all urban. But there's some parts out like near Gettysburg where it's I mean there's a lot of base people out there.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Well, PA is literally just Ohio as soon as you leave Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like, the whole fucking state is insane.
Yeah,
They got Amish. They got fucking. There's nothing in between
I've
Philly
never
and
stepped
Pittsburgh.
foot in Pennsylvania. Never will, dude.
Well, I've come to
Pretty easy to get it
appreciate.
done. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I've come to appreciate it more, man. I've been in cities my whole life, and then 2 years ago I moved out here, and
Feeling better out of the city?
Yeah. I really, it's kind of like when I drive down to DC, man, once I get past that NSA building down south of Columbia, I can feel the grid tighten. I can feel the pressure. Like you really have this you realization that you're going into enemy occupied territory.
My name's Glenn Beck. That's Hillary. Hold on, I'm Gary Johnson. Hi, this is Barack Obama without my teleprompter. I was raised by the Ford Foundation and Carnegie Endowment. Welcome to McDonald's. May I help you? I'm Bernie Sanders. Chris Hazel's glasses like he's a little flank. Thank you, Satan, for all your love. Signed, Sheryl Sandberg. Job of the Hutt. I'm the amazing Randy. I am Uncle Spoon. I am William F. Buckley of the Central Intelligence Agency, here to control and steer the conservative movement into the shoreline.
Yeah, dude, they still got all fucking DC all boarded up, and I think it is so fucking disgraceful. I mean, our government is fucking gay as hell to begin with, but it makes it even gayer that like we now have barbed wires around the Capitol at all times because some fucking idiot boomer like just decided and like didn't even try and do anything. It's so depressing. What for you was the catalyst to move out of the city? Because I'm at the fucking tipping point right now, brother.
And what city were you in? Just out of
Well,
curiosity.
I spent my 20s and 30s living in a lot of places. I used to work in hotels, and they would move me around. I go to a lot of places. I've lived in New York and Seattle and Salt Lake and a bunch of other places. but you know, it was really just by chance. I got this job running a clinic that provides help to people with kind of the same issues that I once was going through, and
Nice.
it's out in a rural area, and it's run by a really good guy. He's a family guy, and he's just a small business guy trying to do his thing, man. And you know, I really have come to appreciate the community and you know, there is that kind of backwards kind of people, that type, but for the most part, it's just people, like you said, who just don't want to be fucked with,
Yeah,
want to
leave
live a
the
good
fuck alone.
life.
Yeah,
right.
dude.
Let me ask you. I got a note here. And this kind of goes on the people who don't want to get bothered bandwagon, but like the double mask. Like what at what like how insane do you feel when you hear about that? Because like my visceral reaction was like to just turn my computer off and like leave.
Yeah, I wanted to scream when I heard that, and then when I saw it, I wanted to kill. It was fucking gnarly.
You know,
I've only seen it like in real life a couple times, thankfully, but
I've seen it a lot out there doing these, you know, and every day I say to myself, there's no way I can be surprised anymore. That's gone. And every single day I am surprised by something. It's amazing, you know. I mean, with these double masks, the anal swab, and you know, the fourth wave now that we got the Brazilian variant, they can just keep on going with this, and people really are just gonna keep buying it, man. I think people are just like, if we comply enough, we'll eventually get our freedoms back. We'll eventually get our lives back. And it doesn't quite work that way. This is
you're gonna get the opposite, and you're gonna be fucking psyched about it. You're gonna be psyched that you have nothing. You're in control of fucking nothing, and you're gonna be so fucking pumped. That's legitimately how it's gonna become. If
they have that thing
there already.
What's the like? I mean, that language though is like baked into a lot of these stupid policies too. Like in the future, you'll own nothing and like it is like which has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's just that language of like, you're gonna capitulate and you're gonna fucking love it. And
no,
like,
it really is, man.
Horrible.
That's a great point, because a lot of the way that I've noticed in the past year, a lot of the most interesting things have dealt with the lexicon. If you listen to this guy Klaus Schwab speak, this guy is just a buzz phrase generator, man. And then, you know, that's not even to look at all of the ways that like cult Marxism has changed the language and all that. You know, that's certainly a part of the communistic elements
but that's the worst part. Is it's not even Marxist theory or critical theory or philosophy or anything. It's taking the terms and then letting social media just churn them around until they literally don't mean anything anymore. Like, there's no cohesive anything.
Well, right. I mean, like, what's a racist anymore? I don't know. So now they have to use Nazi, they have to use white supremacist and all of this. And I'm just like, you know, it doesn't affect me at all anymore to be called that stuff, because I know it's just lost all meaning it ever had.
Yeah, nothing means anything.
And you know, the ways that people are censoring these tech companies have gone crazy with censorship, man. And by doing so, you are necessarily escalating the situation.
Agreed.
By doing that, because when people run out of words, what else do they have?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I often think that a lot of this is just to maximize chaos. A lot of this is done to just absolutely stir shit up so much to the point that we're always at each other's throats.
They were thrilled at that Capitol riot. Like that was
they loved
that. I mean, it was democratic. 9/11.
Chuck Schumer, I brought this up in the pod, said this is our Pearl Harbor. What was it really your fucking Pearl Harbor, Chuck Schumer? You fucking moron. Jesus Christ. The fact that he compared it to that, which was another government fuck up anyway. But
it was a government fuck up, but it wasn't a government conspiracy. It was a fucking
maybe
whatever. Knows? We were going to war anyway. It doesn't matter. But
yeah, that's
not even close.
You know, Jane Fonda said that COVID was the best thing for the left. I mean, she outright said that, and nobody really calls her on that stuff. I mean, It's very
I mean, in there,
one-sided that way.
if you know, I mean, the worst thing is, if they didn't get COVID and then that insurrection which followed COVID, which was also a result of COVID, because no one is going to do that if they're able to live their lives. It was because they couldn't go outside for a fucking year.
Yeah.
Like if you know. Oh my god, my brain just turned off. I'm gonna have to cut that out because I have no idea what I was
No,
trying
you're
to
not
say.
cutting it out. The globalists caught you in live time, dude.
No,
They fucking dude. This is the first time it's happened while we're recording.
Yeah,
My
no, listen.
screen is flickering right now, and I see Bill Gates. I see his penis just pumping cum into a picture of me.
Ugh.
I know.
That is horrible.
Stop now. We're good. We're good.
They're on to
Anyway.
you, man. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it is a completely unnatural way to live. And I
Mhm.
do, when this first started happening, I was seeing these memes about, it's you want to risk grandma's health for a haircut. And it's not
Yeah.
about that, man. It's about the further encroachment of the police state and the totalitarian measures that they
Don't even ask
It's-
me about
it's-
my
no,
grandma.
it's-
Dipshit. Like that enough is a
Right?
lot. Like
The weird thing is, it's the same fucking people who are saying the Patriot Act is bad and is awful that are trying to use this as a new 9/11 to fucking
yeah.
let's double down though. Like,
And
you know what?
if
Actually,
Yep.
it was good. As long as we don't do it to Muslims, we do it to.
If there was a
white
legitimate
dudes.
threat on the government, like they wouldn't have tech companies splintering these people off into groups that would actually be something to be afraid of. They would want to monitor them and have them as close to like their eyes as possible. So like kicking people off all these tech companies, using the verbiage saying they're dangerous and terrorists, which they started 6 months ago saying, well, actually 4 years ago before the riots even happened, to classify these people and then to call them dangerous and then splinter them off onto a million different websites where they actually now are starting militias. It's like, dude, you want these people to become, if not radicalized, like you want domestic terrorism, and you're going to keep saying it until you actually fucking get it.
That's exactly what it fucking is. It's the same thing with Trump, right? Like they called him like he was a bad president. He handled COVID terribly. He's a moron. But like what they did is they debatable. Good for you. They basically said that he's a fascist. They said it from like 2015 for 5 years, and they said it and they said it and they said it, and they built him up. And really, it's them wanting something to, because they don't have any defining. That's the defining feature of these people. They have nothing to define themselves as. So they need a fucking boogeyman, a scary thing. And if they don't have that, they don't exist. So they're gonna have to keep creating newer and more fucking,
Scary.
scary and like, multivariant. There's no actual, like, it's just you think you got it, but it's smoke and it's actually over here, kind of fucking bullshit, until you legitimately people just start feeling insane.
Yeah, well, that's it.
And there are crazy
mass
motherfuckers.
Psychogenic illness.
There are crazy motherfuckers out there who would love nothing more than to fucking like blow up a mosque or like kill a bunch of black people and be really fucking awful. And I'm not denying that they exist, but it's like you can't, in the same way that
70 million people that in our country.
In the same way that fucking like you can't, go into every single mosque with a SWAT team because like a couple guys in Iraq blew up a fucking, convenience store. It's like it's the same. It's the exact same thing that the Democrats criticize the Republicans for 20 fucking years, and they're doing the exact same thing. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's like with this Syria thing, I mean, it's the same old thing, and the same old thing will happen. That those people will continue to thrive when there is chaos, and they stir it up intentionally. I mean, there's been real hard evidence for the fact that both world wars were started under false pretenses, that Vietnam, that all of basically the past 107 years.
How was World War II started under false pretenses? I just don't know. What do you mean?
I'll be right back.
Well,
he's going to go pee. I need to explain that. What does that mean?
I think that there was advanced knowledge of Pearl Harbor. There was that, I mean, and I'm not so big into this, but I do think that there was really for us to team up with the communists to fight what I think was probably the most overblown consideration in terms of what fascism really is. I mean, the way
Wait, so you think the Nazis were overblown?
I think that what happened there is they got the boogeyman label on them, and
Well,
you know,
it's not
for
like
us,
they kind of. I feel like they probably earned that label.
well, there was a lot,
by
but
massacring millions of people all over the fucking world.
which can be debated, and that should be open for debate. But it's not, and that's one of the most
Well, I mean, it
distressing
happened.
things
So that's,
about
I mean,
this.
that's the like.
But also there's the fact that, you know, both sides of every war is funded by the money at the top.
No,
by
well, that's for sure
these
true. And like
oligarchs.
fucking, and you know, GM and DuPont made money off of IG Farben, who was making the fucking gas that went into the gas chambers. GM made money like giving supplies to the Germans, and like that's all factually accurate, and there are always scumbags profiting off both sides of the wars.
Yeah.
But to say that the Nazis were turned into boogeymen, man, they turned themselves into boogeymen. They killed 70 million people in Europe. Like that's, or they're directly responsible for 70 million deaths in Europe. That's not really a
I could turn you on to a lot of sources if you're interested in that. And it is fascinating to go to the CODOH website, CODOH, Committee for the Open Debate on the Holocaust. And I mean, there are people who have put themselves at every personal, financial, social risk possible, Jews included, to look into this matter more and to really, you know, they call it denialism, but what it really is, you know, you're looking at history. What is the real history?
What do you do? What do you do with the fucking millions of photographs of like people who are, you know, emaciated and being fucking tortured and shoved into ovens and all of that shit? What do you do with that? If you're,
well,
I'm like, I mean, this is. All the other shit's whatever. I mean, this is ridiculous though. Like, like,
I mean, I can understand. I mean, I was there. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, man. I didn't really look into this stuff, man. And it was, and I'm not saying that you haven't, but I'm just saying that there is a lot of absolute good versus absolute evil, absolute black versus absolute white, these absolutes that constantly over time they emerge as these, you know, like with Trump, it's like he's literally Hitler. I mean,
but like Dresden can be a war crime while also saying that the Holocaust happened. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
And
they both happened, and they're both bad.
And I do not deny it happened. I look at the inconsistencies that emerge, and I can rattle off dozens of those, but it's
we're gonna rattle off 2 inconsistencies right now with
sure.
How about wait. How about this? We do a Holocaust episode.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Instead of book ending this one with the fucking Holocaust.
Oh, we've been talking about. You left. You went to take a piss, and then my man doesn't believe in the Holocaust.
No. Every time I pee,
man,
I come back. It's Holocaust this, Holocaust that, dude.
No,
what I want to episodes, and we can talk about other stuff.
I'm not stuck up on that kind of issue, but what I'm saying is that history is very selectively written. And it's, of course, written by those who win. And that's what's in the history books. And a lot of the times we don't. When you dig a little deeper, there's a lot more nuance there. My great-grandfather was an Alabama sharecropper. And his life, compared to the life of a slave, was not that different. I mean, we look at slavery, and yes, it's terrible. But the thing is, it's like, one, white people weren't the only ones to ever do slavery, as modernity would have you believe. And two, nobody had anything back then. Most people were dirt poor, and there was a disproportionate amount of, well, there was a very small amount of people who actually owned slaves. And you can go to the Library of Congress and you can look up the slave narratives, and you can see that the life that the Django Unchained and Hollywood paints of what slavery in America actually was a little bit different than these narratives straight from the mouths of slaves that were captured in the 30s and the 40s by the Library of Congress. What I'm saying is there's a lot more nuance. There's a lot more nuance to these issues, and to dig into these absolutes, that horseshoe theory and just extremes on any side of the aisle. I mean, it's ultimately futile. You're not going to get a white ethno state. You're not going to get a pure communist society. You're not, you're not going to get these things. So it's like, we need to be identifying who the real enemy is, and stop bickering about these pseudo events and pseudo issues, because we have been so trained. Well, really, they say the 1%, but it's the 0.0001% that you really got to keep an eye on. It's these Soros and these, Koch brothers. It's Rothschild money. It's
the absolute
Rockefeller
demons
money
at the top of the table.
That's who it is, man. And we're stuck. We are trained to pay such attention to these pseudo events and these pseudo issues that we really that we're not able to identify a genuine threat when it comes. And so when the threat of like this fourth industrial revolution and this great reset comes, everybody's just bickering over the
social issues,
Tubman on the $20 bill.
It's like, what a fucking dumb distraction. And
that's all I'm saying, man. I don't want to get hold up on that, but it's like, that's just an example.
This is a question I want to ask. In a lot of your videos, you say, trust the science, yes? And I have a question. Is there any science you do like? Is there any cool science that you would recommend to our listeners?